Here's a copy of, you want to take this one?
Oh, it is? Okay. That's not right. Good. Okay, we're in the house.
Gotta rip those, right?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call this meeting to order. We're going to have one to ask the Commission's indulgence to make a couple changes to the agenda. The first being after the Rights for Girls presentation, Pepco would like to give us a brief update on the Mount Vernon Triangle power station. With any objections, I'm going to slip that in. I also want to move item 10, 509 O Street to right before the Commission's general discussion on the three transportation bills.
Before the transportation.
Yes. Any issues with those changes? All right, with that, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda. Well, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Why don't we do roll call?
Okay, 6001,
Present.
02,
Present.
03,
Present.
04, here, 05,
Here.
06, and 07.
Present. All right, with that, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
A second.
Moved by Commissioner Wiggins, second by Commissioner Brown. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, first up, we have our representatives from the Metropolitan Police Department. We have a representative from 1D. Excellent. Come on forward.
Hey, good evening. My name is Lieutenant Emeraldman. I'm new to the 1st District. Happy to be here. I'll have a quick overview and then I'll be able to answer any questions that you want. I know stats are kind of boring, so I'll do my best to try to give you a little synopsis on the crime trends. Okay? So basically, over the last 30 days, now keep in mind, 1D only has a little bit of an area in this meeting. Most of it is non-1D, and that's why some of the numbers may seem a little low. So regarding the last 30 days, there's been 5 violent offenses and 36 property offenses, okay, which no crime is good, however, property crime is substantially more than violent crime in this area. Compared to the same 30-day period in 2018, we've increased 2 from 3 to 5. So the numbers for the most part are stagnant, they're fairly low. When you see an increase like that, it's really of no significant concern because the numbers are low anyway. We have actually decreased property crime in that same 30-day period from last year to this year, 61 to 36. And a lot of the property crime decreases can be due to the mobile units that are constantly around, some of the bike units. So when the bad guy does see the police, he is deterred from committing a crime. That is often the case with property crimes, and not sometimes with violent crimes that can be displaced because they still want to, either commit a violent crime or whatever. But typically, it's always with property crime that property crime will be deterred most of the time when they see the police. Year to date, regarding ANC 6E, which is this area, we've actually decreased 29%, so almost 30%, from 390 to 278. And this is due in large part to the 43% decrease in thefts. and that's the same property decrease that I mentioned before. A lot of it is due to the mobility of the officers and the presence of the officers that can deter the suspect from committing some of these property offenses. Year to date, the ADWs have increased from 7 to 11, and the robberies decreased by 3. So it's a rob Peter, pay Paul. You're up in one area, you're down in the other. So for the most part, the numbers are stagnant, and although no crime is good crime, the numbers are fairly low. Of the 18 theft from autos that occurred over the last 30 days, 4 occurred in the unit block at K Street Northwest. Okay, the officers are aware of that, and they're trying to stay as mobile as possible and to decrease some of these property crimes. Now, of the 15 thefts that occurred over the last 30 days, 7 occurred along the 400 block of L Street Northwest. So what we're seeing is between the unit block to the 400 block of L and K is where a lot of the property crimes are occurring. We're doing our best to bring that down to 0. The numbers are fairly low, so that is always a good sign. Does anyone have any questions on what I just went over just right now? If I don't have the answer, I'll do my best to find it back to you. So for the most part, like I said, property crime is what 1D is concerned about increasing. Numbers are actually higher, property crime and violent crime. Well, like I said, any crime is one crime too many, so we'll do our best to bring that down. If there's no other questions, let me refer you to either the captain or the lieutenant to give the other district stats.
No, thank you, officer. And I just want to say, you know, I understand this is probably why a lot of people are here today. The way we do this is we're going to allow the officers to speak and additionally everybody else on the agenda. I'm going to give an opportunity for the commissioners to first ask questions. Then I'll give an opportunity to the audience to ask questions. And then we'll conclude that item. As you know, keeping that in mind, 3D, please.
Hello, how's everybody doing? My name's Lieutenant Ross. I'm with the 3rd District. So I understood we have a little bit of an uptick in robberies. I just want to let you know we have 3 robbery closures from those robberies, which is good. Also, over the last couple of weeks, we had about 4 gun recoveries along the 7th Street corridor, along with a handful of good felony drug cases along the 7th Street corridor. I know that's been an issue recently, so guys have it.
I'll speak about it.
Yeah.
And I'll step in here, folks. I'm Captain Honkin with the 3rd District. I'm one of the managers of Sector 2, which includes PSA 308. With what Lieutenant Ross just mentioned, with the good work that we've been doing there, unfortunately, I know you folks are concerned, want to talk about the shooting that occurred Sunday evening. That occurred around 10:30 in the evening. It's obviously still under investigation. What I can tell you is that our officers are actually very close to scene. Our officers are the ones that actually heard the gunshots and immediately responded to that scene. When the officers arrived there, they did locate an adult male suffering from a gunshot wound, and then he was transported to the hospital and succumbed to his injuries. Another thing that I can tell you is that it was not random. It looks like the people involved were involved in some kind of altercation. We did recover a firearm from the scene, and it looked like at the time the victim was operating a scooter. Another thing, our homicide division is investigating that case, and we do have good leads, and hopefully we'll have a closure soon. So even before that shooting occurred, I know I was here last month speaking about it and the attention that we've been giving that 7th Street corridor that also borders PSA 307. We had Sergeant Trester here talking about that area as well. Like I said in the past, what was it? 4 gun recoveries? 4 gun recoveries. We've had our narcotics division there doing drug work investigations, and I know in the past I've emailed Commissioner Wiggins and Padro. I think after I left, I sent you a couple of updates after that. We also have our bike task units in the area, our crime suppression units in the area, and then we've actually now have a bike unit that's in PSA 308, which covers that area. And we also have an officer bike unit that's from PSA 306, which border that area, 7th and S. that area, and they'll be patrolling that area together. So hopefully, I know these violent crimes are a great concern to you folks, us as well, and we're really doing our best and trying to keep these crimes down. So, any questions?
Yeah, Commissioner Parker.
Sure.
Captain, while we certainly do appreciate the efforts that the 3D has been making in recent months in response to the numerous requests for additional visibility in the area, still within less than a day of this latest shooting, just 2 blocks away from that location, we had a midday robbery. So clearly, we don't have the level of visibility to dissuade criminals, from feeling uncomfortable even within a short period of a major incident like this. In the past, there would be, the area would be flooded with officers whenever there was a shooting of this type. And yes, it took a couple of weeks before it went back to normal, but we haven't seen that, that immediate type of response. Whether we live in Southeast, whether we live in Shaw, whether we live in affordable housing or we live in million-dollar row houses, people have an expectation of being able to walk down the street without having to dodge bullets. And they feel comforted and reassured if they see the men and women in blue. We need to get to the point where, once again, we have a kind of visible presence by MPD in the neighborhood so that people feel comfortable going out of their homes. I've had a number of emails and phone calls in the past couple of days about people saying that they're thinking about moving out of the neighborhood, they don't feel safe in the neighborhood any longer. We've got to do something to make sure that people get back to the point that they feel comfortable walking around in their own neighborhood, especially after dark.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. Everyone should feel safe, and I don't want to debate, how many officers we have here and how often we're seeing. And I can honestly look at you and tell you that that area has the highest concentration of officers in the 3rd District. I mean, our PSA 308, especially bordering that line, and you and I have talked, we have met, we know there are issues there, and I know, I do get feedback, and I do get concerns, complaints that, hey, we do want to see more officers there, but I promise you, they are there, and I also get positive feedback saying, hey, thank you, we do see officers down there. We really are doing our best. I mean, I told you this, I don't want to repeat myself, but we have multiple different units, different divisions. I mean, we have, like I said, Special Narcotics Division coming there and doing work there a lot. Again, our bike units, crime suppression units. Now we have the extra bike units down there. So I want to say, I still, let's continue to work together. And I promise you, we're doing our best. And, I don't take it lightly. I think I've said this before, keep me up at nights too. And hopefully, and if you have any concerns, and I think everyone here will tell you, if I've dealt with any of you folks, I'm very responsive. Send me an email, call me, and I will get right back to you, address your concerns, and in details. If you just give me details on something I can work with, I can get that to the appropriate units that we can have work, or something that I can handle myself with patrol units, then I will definitely do that.
I think it's critically important that the community know that they can reach out to you and be responsive, because there are things that when we're in the neighborhood, if we see something, we can say something.
Absolutely.
And I know people who have reached out to you, reached out to me, because it's critically important that we do a better job of trying to get a handle on this situation, because it's getting worse. As we prophesied a few weeks ago, somebody's gonna get killed, and 2 weeks later, somebody's killed on that block. So I'm gravely concerned about the support that we need from MPD. We email all the time.
Sure.
Commander Emmerman is very responsive to my emails, so I'm greatly appreciative of it. I'm not MPD basher. I think we need to work together as we have done in the past several weeks, and we've given you some leads on where you might be able to find some narcotics in the area. I get even more concerned when I see emails coming where a young lady was walking with her child and somebody whips out a gun you know, right beside her, has no regard, right in broad daylight. So I think we need more presence than what we're seeing. A police car present almost, I know you're not able to do it 24 hours a day, but I think we need more than what we're seeing. Because when we can come by and you see 25 gentlemen on the sidewalk in the afternoon, that gives us great pause. Gives us great pause. I got a call 10:30 Sunday night about the shooting. And I was going to go out, my wife said, please don't go out, let the police do their job. I said, you know what, you're right. Let me call, but I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Ready to go and see what's going on so I can be aware of what the problem is. But I know we're not first responders. So we definitely need your support.
Absolutely.
You definitely need your support.
And I've asked this also, and like I said, we'll do the work, and I've also asked this in our meetings too, is please feel free, when you see anything suspicious, any activity, I hear this quite a bit when I go to different community meetings. People think they're bothering us, they're, you know, bothering 911. Please call us. You know, we can't be everywhere, you know, all the time. So we do appreciate it. If you see something, just like the commissioner said, call 911, tell us, and we will respond. And if it's something simple as, you know, I know we talked about loitering and the no loitering laws in DC. If you call us and we go to that scene, if you know, there's criminal activity, obviously we'll do something about it. But, you know, if we don't get there on time, they're hiding it or what have you, at least that makes, if they're bad guys, bad girls, it makes them uncomfortable. It shows that we're showing up, that we know the activity that's going on. So please contact us, call 911, and also if you want to stay anonymous, this is only for non-emergencies. If you text, you know, on 50411, that's another way that we'll respond to scenes. Yes.
I know DC is really getting terrible. You know, you just can't, you know, people got these guns on the street, especially up there where my sister lives at. You know, up there about Columbia Heights, they shooting up there terrible. Columbia Road, up there by Target,
Yep.
and I be, you know, be kind of worried about her a lot.
Yeah.
What is the department's position on when you see people camped out in lawn chairs on the sidewalk? Is that considered incommodity?
Yes, I mean, if you folks can't get by that area, especially if they have furniture like that, you don't call us. Well, we can at least, you know, have them move. And another thing we talked about, the other stuff, the other meeting too, is a lot of times that stuff will be left there. Call us, call DPW. We'll actually come and call somebody else or have that stuff removed. So it can actually be trash or it can be found property or something. So at least it can be moved so people don't return and sit on these seats and that sort of thing.
So let me just reiterate what you said. So I talk to DPW all the
Yep.
time about stuff on the sidewalk.
Yep.
Are you telling me if I reach out to you two, you can get that taken care of right away?
I will, so that's the thing I'm talking about. So I'll call DPW, depending on what kind of property it is, then we can take some stuff for found property
All right.
and put it on the books. It has to be reasonable. I mean, we're not gonna, you know, pick up garbage.
No, but I'm saying like, it just, I mean, it just goes on and on in my area about like stuff like on the little park area across from Kirby where the guys are doing their barbecues all the time and all this type of stuff. And
Yeah, then they definitely shouldn't be barbecuing. So, you know, call us and then we can stop that.
We're having that problem on the 600 block of N Street in Canyonland where senior citizens live. They're nomadic in nature. They're actually moving from N Street from time to time. They're setting up camp right near senior citizens apartment building, and when they come out to get groceries, they gotta walk past all this element. And I had a conversation with a senior citizen today, and she said, I speak to them very nicely, but I tell them, you can't sit here and camp out.
Sure.
And many times they will be respectful of their move because she's strong, but she's polite, but she gets them to move on, but everybody's not gonna have that courage
Yeah.
to say something.
And you know, I got notified on a situation similar to that, and we actually had a sergeant respond to the scene and actually took photos, and then we actually forwarded that to DPW and the homeless encampment people that take care of that, and got the mayor's office involved. So if it's something that that MPD can't do, let me know, and maybe I can get it to, or not maybe, but I'll get it to the right element to see if they can do something about it.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, no, I want to go back to 7th and S. I mean, it was 5 or 6 years ago that a young person was shot dead at 6 in the afternoon on the way to a birthday party at the Light Proper. I mean, there's something critically toxic about those blocks in 4 directions around there. Since midsummer, there's been a series of Sunday afternoon incidents. One was an assault in the middle of 6th and S, and they were chased up Wilberger Street, and then they turned around and chased after the, and assaulted the 2 people. I mean, what is going on in this area?
So-
And I feel confident that it's not people that live there.
So, obviously, we're aware of it, and just, you mentioned, so we know the area, we had officers that just, recovered, I'm pretty sure it's 2 guns from Wilberger. So.
What do you mean recovered? I know the 7 houses, none of us have a gun.
It did belong.
People on the street.
Yes, yeah. So, and we're constantly, obviously, it stems from something. It stems from, different neighbors that have different feuds. There's gangs, different areas, obviously drugs. So those things, we're trying to concentrate on. That's why we're doing a lot of drug work on 7th Street and in the area. Like I said, it stems from something. People argue about something. There's a beef about drug deals or who's dealing here and there. So we want to start kind of from the bottom, or the root cause of the problem, to try to get to these guns. And then, I know I mentioned this before too, we're trying to work with the USAOs and trying to really, that's part of our frustration as well, when we do make these, good arrests, whether it be distribution, especially distribution, they're arrests when we get, somebody's a user, has a little bit of, drugs on them. What we really want to concentrate on are the distributors, these drug dealers. And part of our frustration is when we make these good arrests and we get these gun arrests, we want these people to be, held responsible, either get them a better rehab or held responsible for these crimes instead of, being out a day or 2 days later. So we are trying to, again, work with the USAOs with that. CSOSA, the probation officers, things like that.
But are they residents, or are they not residents of those 4
Some-
square blocks?
Some are. I will tell you, yeah, some are. And then some of the violent crimes that happen, I think you're getting to, are people that are coming in from different neighborhoods that have a feud or argument with people in these other neighborhoods.
Do we know motivation for this? Was it like a drug-related, gang-related robbery gone wrong?
For this particular,
Yeah.
I think that, I can't say, because it's a case that detectives are working, but they do have a really good lead time. I think this gentleman has.
Yeah.
I think that's what they did.
Yeah, oh, okay, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to, you guys covered it already, but I wanted to further expound on his point that a lot of times it's other people coming in from other neighborhoods, and while there's effort being put towards, making a presence in our neighborhood and I guess policing, the residents or bad guys, quote unquote, in our neighborhood, like what can we do to control like these rivalries that are, these enemies, I guess, that are coming in neighborhoods, because even the victim, it was in the media that he was Southeast, you know what I mean? So, like, what does that say about the offender? Like, was he even from the area, or did he also come from the area trying to track him down to attack him, you know what I mean? So.
And so this is a common question that I've been getting when people come from other neighborhoods or other parts of the city. With that happening, we can't, as police officers, we can't stop people visiting different areas of the city.
Right.
I mean, we just can't. The only time we can even make contact with somebody is we have to have probable cause to stop somebody. Now, let's say, and our officers, especially the attack units that I talk about, what they know a lot of people, a lot of players in the area. So in terms of, let's say, they recognize somebody and they know this person to be up to no good. We can try to make just simple contact with them. There's nothing that says we can't talk to them. But if they aren't involved in some kind of criminal activity at the time, they can just walk away from us.
Right.
We can't stop them. So, you know, so with that's really difficult. Like I said, unless the officers or we have some sort of evidence that, you know, some sort of criminal activity was going on at the time.
So my partner and I have lived in Shaw for 10 years and we live at 6th and S, and I have to tell you, I've never felt this unsafe. Even what Shaw looked like 10 years ago, I feel less safe now walking around the neighborhood. And so much of it, I understand what you're saying. None of this is assuaging my concerns to walk around my neighborhood in the middle of the day or at night, to be honest with you. And I think we're all craving to hear something about what's the preventative measures. I understand you've recovered X number of whatevers. That's great. I'm actually not minimizing that at all.
Sure.
But nothing's been talked about what sort of preventative measures can be taken. I know my neighbor has some points on that as well. But there's gotta be, I mean, I am literally scared shitless in my own neighborhood, and I've never felt that way in 10 years. And something has to be done besides more police and more visibility and more something else has to be done, because if you're saying it's the highest concentration of police officers right now, yet crime is, at least in our perception, whether that's reality or not, is worse than it's been, to me that's just saying that's not the answer. And I'm not gonna act like I'm an expert and know what the answer is, but something else has to be done.
Yeah, and just, you say, see something, say something. In the past 60 days, I've had, my husband was assaulted on our 6th and S. I've been property damage, my car's broken into, loitering, package theft, physical abuse, property damage. I've worked with the woman who was at gunpoint with the baby. We've been working together with our security footage, which is great, the DC Mayor's incentive program for that. It's been critical in helping us identify and respond to these aggravations, but I still feel that sense of like insecurity, and we just want some sense. After the 2015 shooting, I witnessed that as well. I heard the gunshots on Sunday night. After the 2015, there was a camera that put up on that corner, and I think that, like Commissioner Pedro said, like there's a physical visibility, and that's what puts the residents at ease. Even though we know you're working, or now we know you're working behind the scenes, but it still doesn't day-to-day walking our dogs worried about if we're gonna get shot. So.
And if I could add on to that, I remember a few years ago when there was the mass shootings on O Street, I think it was MPD set up a tent or something with 24-hour people there, you know, just someone you can talk to, hey, this is what's going on. You know, why isn't that kind of solution being proposed for that area?
We've actually done that. I think it was, do you remember, Christmas? Was it last month? We had it at 7th and O. We had a pop-up tent.
You're gonna
Well,
North
that's
Capitol.
what it knows.
But yeah, but we actually still do.
What about
that.
the camera?
And I can schedule more of those.
What about the portable camera?
The portable cameras.
I mean, this is a major metropolitan, like we have to deter people on the Monday morning commute to go around the block because the metro was shut down because of this. Like, it's a major high traffic area. It's not just because the residents are here speaking up. Like, there's a big development going in there. It's gonna like devalue all these property, you know, there's just like a trickle effect, and I think we need to like nip this in the bud versus just saying like, we're gonna get, you know, we're slowly identifying guns and this and that, but like we need to like do something more substantial, I think, in the short term.
That portable camera, that portable camera,
Yeah, it's, boy, those are,
I know they're expensive,
Yeah.
but so is life.
and that's the thing, yeah, and that's not a, you know, decision that comes through 3D, so.
Who do we advocate to get that decision made?
Because, like Susie said, it's a major high traffic area.
And it worked in 2015, well, at least we think it worked in 2015.
Let me,
Excuse me, I haven't been holding up my hand, I don't know what the process is, but I'll wait till my turn, I don't know who's doing the queuing.
Well, yeah, well, I kinda wanna hear the answer with this, but then you're right next.
Let me actually look into that, and then, either at the next meeting or I can email.
Yeah, how long will it take for you to have an answer on that, do you think?
Not long, this week.
Like a week? Yeah, alright, so you just, if you can shoot an email, if you have all of our emails, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Alright, sorry, thank you for your patience.
Okay, yeah. My name is Ibrahim Mukri, Captain. I've been in the neighborhood about 43 years, and I've seen a lot of things happen, as Alex Parker knows and some of the other people know. I recognize that we don't have lottery laws, but I think someone said as I was coming in, I was a little late, that when you walk down the street, there are 15 to 20 guys sitting out there smoking weed and playing dice. That's an invitation for a fight if somebody disagrees with somebody. And plus, my wife is not comfortable walking through that group.
Sure.
And you say, if you see something, say something. I can't believe that you all don't see that too.
Right.
And I'm not suggesting that you can do it, you can arrest anything, but you certainly could walk through that situation and say, and you guys gotta help me. I don't know what the latest stuff is on smoking weed, but I think you have to do it inside your house and not there in front of the church or some other place, in somebody's place. The second thing is people talked about the cameras, and I think we certainly need portable cameras. You know, I used to say, years ago, I was executive director of the Shaw Pack in the neighborhood, a community-based organization, and I convened a meeting with some ministers, and I said, the problem we have with all the ministers is that all the criminals know each other, but the good guys don't talk to each other. We need more than just the police. We need the U.S. Attorney, the Attorney General, the judges, and everybody. You guys can help facilitate the collaboration of all the people. But I think several people have said that, you know, it's sort of like we're taking medicine for a cold and we got the flu. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Gretchen Morton. I've lived in Fifth and S all my life. We've met. As a matter of fact, Alex Parker and I went up to 3rd District to talk just about these kinds of things that are happening. And for the first time, the other night, I actually saw 2 police persons on bicycles going down S Street. Unfortunately, that was the same night that we had the shooting at Wonder Bread. So I have seen a little bit of presence, but as Stephen was saying, we have issues in the 1900 block of 7th Street. Everybody knows what's going on there. They're selling drugs under the counter at the store. So, number one, if you all don't have some undercover people working there, we've got a problem. Number two, you don't have some visible police cars, and I have seen a few parked on T Street, but this isn't a one-shot kind of thing, because as soon as they leave, something else happens. So I think what we're all saying is that you've got to have